Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh reacts to climate activists destroying art. Bible sales are up more than 40% since 2022. Representative Ilhan Omar endorses Omar Fateh, who is the Democrat socialist choice over in Minnesota. Mitsubishi confirms an off-road model for 2026. And portable fans are being recalled because they might ironically burst into flames. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT, value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I say your founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapters to come out to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends and your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Mitsubishi confirming their off-road model for the US next year, which will make all 18 prospective buyers very, very happy, maybe. I mean, I really do wonder how many people want to buy Mitsubishi and how few of them would actually want an off-road machine. Now, Spark was thanks to Andrew Collins at thedrive.com, and they say, quote, Mitsubishi confirms new off-road model for the US next year, and I'm cautiously optimistic. And then again, this is credited to Andrew Collins, and they say, quote, there will be a 2026 Mitsubishi Offender off-road model on sale in America in 2026. And here you can see one of the Mitsubishi SUVs on screen there, and it's all of its disappointing design. So sad. What an iconic company. They used to make the Lancer Evolution. I mean, the Galant was interesting. I mean, the Eclipse. And now they just make SUVs for people who can't afford a Honda or a Toyota, presumably. Now, going to get into the main article, they say, quote, Mitsubishi announced a new rugged Outlander SUV with off-road bodywork, off-road focused drive modes, and performance upgrades. Unique interior styling will also be there and set to arrive in the US marketplace at the end of next year. They say, here's exactly how it was pitched in a press release. And here's one of the SUVs out in the wild. Yeah, a little ADHD question. When's the last time you actually remembered seeing a Mitsubishi dealership even? Yeah, alone one on the road. Now again, they say, quote, today's announcement confirms the second addition to the lineup will be an off-road focused vehicle that reinforces the brand's storied history in off-road and off-highway travel. Mitsubishi recently debuted the Trail Edition on Outlander, and this new model will build upon the graphic features of that vehicle by adding off-road specific bodywork, off-road focused drive modes, and performance upgrades, and unique interior styling with specific materials. This vehicle will take the company's legendary to who or whom? Nevertheless, they say, quote, this company will take the company's alleged legendary super all-wheel drive system honed from Mitsubishi Motors' 12 wins in the legendary Dakar Rally on the muddy tracks of the World Rally Championship to the next level, allowing families to explore further beyond where the pavement ends. I expect production model will get some fender flares, unique wheels, and mid-AT tires, and hopefully at least a tiny lift and real skid pads. If Mitsubishi can pair that with cute graphic package and decent looking interior, I think it's on to something that imagined above of the Outlander or the standard Outlander, next to another one covered with a sheet, is the only visual teaser we've seen thus far. So it looks like no major ride height or roof racks yet. Now there's Outlander right there, which I don't know more than 5 people who could probably identify that, and maybe 3 people own it in America. Now let's say, quote, there's already been an Outlander Trail Edition, which has some stickers and cool wheels listed at $40,000 with all-wheel drive and a long list of luxury items. It shares a platform with the Nissan Rogue and a very low output engine, but reviews are generally not bad. He says, I haven't driven it. Well, many have not. The Outlander isn't outstanding on paper, but it's inexpensive, starting at $30,000, and comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, 5-year unlimited roadside assistance, and 2-year limited maintenance plan. It's built in Japan, which is exposed to the tariffs, but it also gives it some prestige, which, I could see a little prestige. Made in Japan used to be a very unique thing, and depending on what you're talking about, sometimes more reliable than other countries. Now, they say, quote, wherever the Outlander off-roader ends up being called, it doesn't need to be a solid axle rock crawler to be worthwhile. There's some old pictures. A mid but good-looking equipment package would go a long way, making it a fun ride. But for what most people in America consider overlanding, fire road running, all you need are good tires and about 8 inches of ground clearance. This is the first time I've seen Mitsubishi invoke its Dakar Rally heritage in new marketing materials since the Too Fast, Too Furious era, which, geez Louise. Time is flying, folks. Back when the Fast and Furious series was actually about racing and not crazy superhero movies with superhuman strengths going to space and doing all sorts of stupid stuff. Now let's say, quote, again, the last time I saw marketing materials was when the Too Fast, Too Furious movie came out, when at least one person in the brand still cared about appealing to car enthusiasts. Also true. There is a hidden section of the brand's site with some cool Dakar imagery though. Historically speaking, Mitsubishi had an incredible track record of building sweet on- and off-road performance vehicles and yes, winning races. A long time ago. Well, I did that last part. It was nothing less than a powerhouse of extreme off-road rally racing in the 80s and 90s. Unfortunately for the fans of the brand, the history pretty much ends in the early 2000s. The Lancer Evo X, the last vehicle sold in the United States that was interesting enough to get super excited about, has been long gone for 10 years now. Oh my god. Time flies, folks. Again, that was a legendary car, and those are so much fun. Good old turbocharged, massive brakes. I believe they're even Brembo. Every once in a while, you'll see a Lancer Evo X on the road, and I'll just smile. Like once a year, I'll see it. If you're discounting like the average car show, where you'll see some unique cars. Even there, it's not that common. And he says, quote, all this, that to say, given the broad popularity of off-road vehicles and nostalgia, I've long thought Mitsubishi could spin up some attention by slapping a few accessories onto an SUV and trying out old footage of its Dakar Rally heroics as promotional clips. Guess they finally feel the same way. Which, yeah, maybe. And again, these high trim of these options for these vehicles, I mean, it's a smart idea business-wise. It's highly profitable. They just add a couple extra pieces. Again, like they were saying here, they'll probably even have the same engine. Just give it extra skid, or give it a skid pad. Give some nice graphics, bigger tires, a little more clearance. And again, for most consumers, that's going to do it, and it'll be a pretty good profit. Now, the real question is, can Mitsubishi sell these at any volume more than 18 units? I'm not saying it's impossible. And again, they do have an aggressive price point. Granted, the United States has a lot of variables when it comes to tariffs and all those types of costs that manufacturers can't control. I do wonder, I mean, maybe this will just be like their version of a Halo car, where it just gets people excited about the brand again, gets good marketing materials, kind of like you see the commercials of the cars where, oh yeah, it looks like a race car, whatever it is, and then in very small font it says, as pictured, $25 million more than the actual average base price of vehicle, with most people going to get the base price vehicle. So and again, it's cool to see Mitsubishi in the headlines for once for, not bad news. Like you always expect them to be going out of business, but I think it'd be kind of interesting. I'm pretty pessimistic in terms of what the sales figures will look like, but let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the cultural part of the podcast, and Matt Walsh reacting to climate activists destroying more art. He is also responding to someone by the name of Vice Grade 24, and Vice Grade says, quote, climate change activists vandalized one of the world's most famous paintings of Christopher Columbus in a naval museum in Madrid today. Two young female activists from Fierro Vegetal threw red paint over the first tribute to Christopher Columbus, which was painted in 1892 on the occasion of the 400th anniversary of Columbus' first voyage to the New World. The activists said they vandalized the painting to denounce, quote, extractive neocolonialism, exploiting indigenous lands and natural resources, which, civilizing them. You mean literally placing the groundwork for the entire modern civilization? Places where they didn't even have invention of like the wheel or gunpowder or firearms or medicine. Yeah, areas that hate still human sacrifice. But here's incredibly, they're not being tackled or handled with extreme prejudice. They're just walking up to the painting right there. And of course, the gal's two women with short hair. I feel like the guard is not armed. So we have a guard running up to them, pulling them aside. Let's watch that again. That's pathetic. So, what was that? They've been throwing paint for a while. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 splurts of paint on the painting before he goes over and pushes them. Why is he not drop kicking them to the floor? Perhaps it's a little too Hollywood to do a drop kick, but he's just like pushing them as he would like a child, like barely touching them. Ridiculous.
Mira cómo se llevan a la rata esta. A tu madriguera, gilipollas.
Picking up the gals by their arms and legs and walking in.
Inculta, que eres una inculta.
That's the first time in your life you've done what. And yeah, some of the greatest works of art destroyed thanks to these gals. They got, again, from the original poster, 1.6 million views and 6.3 thousand likes. Now, Matt Walsh responded, saying, quote, "The legal penalty for vandalizing a priceless work of art should be the amputation of both hands. The good news is that you'd only have to carry out this punishment one time. It would be enough. It would be the last time that any of these assholes ever did anything like this," which, yeah, I greatly decreased the frequency of these, I would argue, terrorists. That's kind of their goal. And Matt got, 375,000 views and 9.3 thousand likes. Now, Matt continued saying, quote, "You could make a very reasonable argument for the death penalty in these cases, so limb amputation is actually quite lenient and merciful," getting 1.7 thousand likes, which, yeah, I think we need some discipline in this area, obviously. You're seeing more and more of this happen with greater frequency than ever before, and ironically, kind of like when idiots will protest by sitting in the middle of the street, they lose all support. I always had a conspiracy theory, maybe, the opposite opposition is paying these people to do this to make you not like their cause, because again, whether it be the Stop Big Oil people sitting in the middle of the street, which again causes actually more emissions because cars will actually have to run while going nowhere, which according to their opinion, again, the more emissions will be bad, so thereby make the problem worse. But yeah, you lose all support for your cause when you start to riot, you start to disrupt people's average lives, or in this case, destroy beautiful pieces of art. Again, these pieces of art are irreplaceable. Now, the good news is many modern museums have them as the actual art is behind bullet-resistant glass, because they know, I don't know why these hippies are these, I say kids, they're usually cat ladies, but they always seem to like to use their cans of soup or paint and throw them on these works of art to destroy them. And again, they even try to do it to the Mona Lisa. Which, now that work of art is again protected, but not all museums have the budget to have those high-quality actual deterrences. That being said, an AR-15 is usually about $800 for a pretty good one. You can hire a veteran to stand there and guard these works of art. Granted, I'm not saying they're going to do that in most museums, but that'd be a pretty big deterrent. Now, in most parts of the world, or actually no, depending where you live, in the United States, most states have a law in which, or the way in which you are allowed to reasonably use force to protect yourself is only to protect yourself in terms of deadly force. That's usually reserved for defending your life, not personal property. I don't know if, again, this is a different country and everything like that. You might need some new legislation to say these works of art, because of their historical significance and their cultural significance, maybe they would change the law or have a caveat that says, you are allowed to protect works of art with deadly force. Again, in most areas you can't, but that would greatly decrease the frequency in which these bad things keep happening, and they keep happening time and time again. It seems to be happening in greater frequency because these people face barely any consequences, if any at all. And I can't help but think, what country has barely any crime? Oh yeah, Dubai. Well, a lot of these countries, you get caught stealing, they chop off a hand. Now again, a lot of countries, the legal system will not allow those type of actual punishments. I'm just saying, a lot of areas that would work. And I can't but think if there's actual harsh consequences for destroying art, which I think is one of the, in terms of destroying history and crimes against humanity, that, is an actual, crimes against people. I think that's up there. These people hate everything beautiful, everything pure. And again, it's so stupid because it makes you, no one's going to, even few people respect any of their causes. Now, in terms of the comments, one of the first ones comes to us thanks to Sagiphrash Eternius, saying, quote, Matt Walsh is articulating the brutal necessity of a civilization that wishes to survive. This ritual desecration by nihilist cult that despises beauty and history. Our system treats it as simple vandalism because the ruling class shares the culprit's contempt for our heritage. Civilization that will not punish its own destroyers is already dead, getting 84 likes. Now, I do have a contrarian statement bringing to the service Alex Grace. Now, Alex Grace, he's from Canada. Well, he's got the Canadian flag. Oh, no. Okay, he is conservative. Yeah, that poor son of a bitch. Conservative, forced in the hell of Canada. Freedom of America, right there. Now, he claims, quote, this makes us no better than Islamist. I would disagree this time. I think jail time followed by community service would be okay. Which, again, they've tried that. It has not been working. He did get 8 likes, though. Let's see. Van Petten says, ironically, Islamists also destroy priceless artifacts and artwork if it's not deemed Islamic, getting 3 likes. Smog, the Golden says, shut the F up, you effing spineless moron. People like you are why we have effing lives like this, getting 3 likes. So Alex Grace is not ratioed by, the likes, but the actual comments. The conservative alternative says, quote, we are far too soft on our criminals in this country, and it shows. If we don't acknowledge the fact that we're in a war to preserve our culture, then we're done for. And he has a quote from Adam Smith that's going more and more viral, seems like every single day, saying, quote, mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent, getting 87 likes. We also have I Love American News, says, quote, I would be more harsh than that. And it's a meme that says, I'm proud to be everything liberals hate, getting 49 likes. Yes Man says, please tell me it's covered in some type of glass. If not, yes, amputate the hands, getting 29 likes. Tim Higgins says, brand their eyeballs, getting 13 likes. Let's see, you also have Mike Williams says, and you criticize Muslims the next day for amputating thieves in a Sharia-based country, you wouldn't you? Getting 15 likes. Michelle, or you did get 1 response. Michelle says, whatever you have to tell yourself, getting 1 like. JT Alexander says, quote, we can just stop all crime if we stop threatening criminals' behavior like a cute little toddler tantrum. Look around it, getting 45 likes. Mike Sharp says, quote, I can't bring a tube of toothpaste on an airplane, but they can bring a gallon of paint to the museum, getting 16 likes. Yeah, that's another, most museums, and again, a lot of them they do have tight budgets. A lot of them have a lot of volunteer staff. They're not paid employees in many cases. And a lot of the security is lax, to say the least. And a lot of them will allow you to bring in one of those massive, stupid-looking purses and not even inspect it, which, again, I find it abhorrent from a security perspective. And obviously, it's their security is not working. Let's see, you also have Salty Sauce saying, quote, how much more evidence do we need that it's just a desire to destroy the West? What does Columbus have to do with climate change? Getting 38 likes. Dr. Jonathan Crane says, Republicans, they're going to implement Sharia law across all the country. Also, Republicans cut off their hands. Cannot make this up, getting 18 likes. Chris Phillips says, quote, at the very least, drag them feet first down the stairs. Every satisfying thump of their noggin on the tread of the way down just might knock the little sense into them, getting 9 likes. SEJP says, quote, here are the 2 retards from the Spanish activist group Vegetable Future. Why does it always seem like these idiots come from the same machine? Like ignorant, mindless drones and that hate everything but their own dementia. It's a few liberal white women, which, it's very short hair, frumpy pants, and getting 4 likes. Idle Threat says, quote, make punishment great again, getting 6 likes. Let's see. All right, we do have another contrarian statement. Sankit Gadis saying, quote, severity of the punishment proposed here, amputation of hands, seems extreme, but it underscores the gravity of damaging irreplaceable cultural artifacts, getting 5 likes. Yeah. Also have the undercurrent says, if stupidity were a renewable energy, the left could power the grid, getting 14 likes. Tim Santal says, see you in court, ladies, getting 3 likes. McDo says, how do they get that shit through security? I can't take a small poster my daughter bought at a concert into the MAMA. It's Modern Art Museum. And I got 3 likes. Which, again, I think they give a lot of leeway to those purses. Monty Mirth says amputation is a little bit much. Jail time, though, getting 4 likes. So, and again, we see this around the globe too. It's a global phenomenon. We see it more and more. And a lot of these activist judges just let them off the hook. I'm pretty skeptical to think. I don't think this will ever actually decrease in frequency unless we radically change. But so many powers that be want to have history completely destroyed. It's almost, I mean, it kind of explains maybe why these activities seem to be more and more incentivized. They keep having a frequency. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Bible sales up more than 40% as we continue to see a cultural shift. That's brought to us thanks to Benny Johnson, and he says, quote, "The most important news you'll see all day. There's a real Christian revival happening across the country. Bible sales up 41.6%. Spiritual app downloads up 79.5%. Christian music streaming is up 50%. God is good. It is how we win." Like it's a Fox News segment as well, which somehow is still in business. I don't know how, but they're still in business.
Christian revival across the country. Bible sales increasing over 40% since 2022. Religion app downloads surging nearly 80%. That increase since 2019. And Christian music Spotify streams up 50% from 2019. Our next, a Christian.
Yep. And I think one of the biggest, I would say one of the biggest contributors to this would be Charlie Kirk, and a huge impact that he had not only living, but the even greater impact that he has had culturally, politically, and spiritually in his passing as well. And anecdotally, now again, I actually started to go to church a little bit before he was assassinated. One of those instances where I asked my parents, "Hey, there's probably a little bit of dust on it. Can you send me my old Bible back, or send me my Bible from home?" And unfortunately, apparently, been lost throughout the years. And so, actually, just a couple days ago, they gifted me a new one. So I'm very well, statistically speaking. This is a sample size. That data was previous, but yeah, I think it's not just lost Bibles. I think it's also people getting back into religion as well, and it's just becoming a greater phenomenon in the United States, and I suspect also globally as well, thankfully. And pretty valid. Got about 1 million views, as well as 62,000 likes. And again, more anecdotal experience. Personally, I've been going to church on Sundays, and sometimes the program going on Saturday, but it seems to be there's record attendance time and time again. It's never been more full, and I think that's a great thing. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, "The revival is happening for Charlie. God is good," getting 727 likes. I also have the conservative alternative saying, quote, "Charlie's greatest warning: without Christianity, our culture will collapse, and people are starting to realize that. We have to do everything in our power to revive Christendom." And it's he has a screenshot of Charlie's tweet from September 3rd, 2025, where Charlie says, quote, "No civilization has ever collapsed because it prays too much, but a civilization that abandons God will deteriorate and ultimately collapse from the inside out, or because it loses and will repel a malicious external force." And that got 421 likes. One bad dude says, "As people see the evil around them everywhere, they are being pushed towards the light," getting 149 likes. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says, quote, "God is the only way to save America. While we are heartbroken to have lost Charlie Kirk, his martyrdom has spread the gospel more than any church has in recent history," getting 624 likes, which is 110% true. I mean, not only is Charlie Kirk charismatic, and he has some exceptional arguments for the faith, he is really good at marketing, and churches, let's be honest, they suck at marketing. Only after I started to seek information, aka, start to search stuff on Brave and Google, did I start to see ads for churches on the Facebook feed, which, again, that's very reactive. If you're good at predictive analysis, you're doing good marketing, you actually, you put your prospective clients before they know themselves. Now, Kobo has a picture of Charlie Kirk. It says it's all about Jesus, getting 321 likes. I Love American News says God wins, and it's a screenshot from an article saying 100 saved, baptized as 8,000 students attend Christian revival at University of Tennessee, getting 262 likes. The context video says for Charlie, it's a picture of, AI, of course, picture of Charlie Kirk and Jesus. Says, "Father, I could have led you more." Says, "Son, you have no idea how many you did." Getting 43 likes. Let's see. Now, I do have a contrarian statement. I had to scroll a little bit to find one, but this is from Cincinnati Black saying, quote, "Online racism from white conservative nationalists is up to was it 2 million? 20 million %, which is, he did not cite the statistic. Obviously, it's made up. But he did get 10 likes. Was he ratioed? Or lawyer says, quote, I sure hope so. I'm tired of race-conscious bullshit. Be uncomfortable and upset. I'm going to hang out with these white nationalists who have no issue with you." He says, quote, and he also says, "I'm not white." Getting 3 likes. June has one of the famous memes of a gal giving some CPR. The gal is labeled Democrats, and the CPR victim, or the person who needs CPR, is labeled racism. And Democrat goes, "Don't you die me, you bastard. We still need to use you." Real World says all followers of Jesus are God's children. It's not about race. It's about mankind coming back to God, getting 3 or 4. So get 5 likes. Going down more and more. Sask Rider Gal. This picture of a girl with the, what's it? Is that a dandelion, I think? It says the safest place to be is within the will of God, getting 14 likes. Let's see. White Warrior says he loves us. This picture of Jesus and says, quote, it doesn't matter what we've done, just come home, getting 93 likes. Let's see. Representative Nancy Mace says the Charlie Kirk effect, getting 192 likes. God and Country has a picture of the cross American flag, says Return to Christ, getting 170 likes. So I was going to say, overwhelmingly, again, it's 1 or 2 negative comments, but overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, I do think, and again, I don't think it's 100% due to Charlie Kirk. I think he was probably one of the biggest and greatest contributing variables of why we're seeing more and more people get back in the church. You're also seeing, cultural shift. Men and women are becoming more and more politically bifurcated, and young men, especially, going to church in record numbers. It'll be interesting to see. I'm pretty pessimistic if we see women join them as well. But yeah, there's definitely, this is the biggest revival I've seen in 20 years. And I think it's great for our country and our culture. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Representative Ilhan Omar endorsing Omar Fateh, the Democrat socialist, who's the Democrat Socialist of America backed candidate for mayor of Minneapolis, which, yeah, that'll make the city a lot better. Haha, political joke and kind of dark humor, because things will get a lot worse. Now, this brought to us thanks to Justin Grage, who says, quote, Ilhan Omar has officially endorsed Omar Fateh, the Democrat Socialist of America backed candidate for mayor of Minneapolis. Election is just days away. There's Representative Omar.
Well, I'm excited to announce that I will be supporting Senator Fateh for the mayor of the city of Minneapolis.
Our Congresswoman, who I'm really excited to have her support.
And with that, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar put her stamp of approval on a grateful state senator, Omar Fateh, who envisions a city that is more equal.
Minneapolis seems to be a tale of 2 cities, one for the wealthy and the well-connected, and the rest of everyone else.
The Congresswoman,
the people who work versus the people who don't work. Again, there's been a couple of breaking stories past couple months, especially of a record number of people scamming government benefits.
believes the 35-year-old senator, a Democratic socialist, can lead with a progressive agenda.
I have trust in
Nose ring theory.
the senator's track record that he will find a way to make sure that we have ordinances, legislation that is passing through that speaks to the desires and the needs of the residents of the city.
Fateh
Free stuff. When he has rallies, those are like the only English words he speaks. Free. Free healthcare, free room and board, free food.
His run has not been entirely smooth. He is being accused of campaign violations for continuing to use the term DFL endorse on his campaign signs. The state DFL
That was when the DFL found out, there's kind of some shenanigans.
rescinded the endorsement after convention irregularities surfaced and
That's a very nice way of saying cheating.
declined to make an endorsement of anyone else. Fateh says he is benefiting from a backlash.
People stop me and they tell me that we're really hurt and upset by what happened with the DFL taking back the endorsement.
Fateh continues to deny questions about any ethical missteps, including when he fast-tracked a housing bill without disclosing his wife's alleged business ties to the project.
I guess he's definitely a contender for politician. He's already lying, already has corruption. Let's rewind that for a second there.
Disclosing his wife's alleged business ties to the project.
It was not a finance bill. It was not to benefit my wife or anyone. It was a program integrity bill.
Representative Omar knows both Senator Fateh and Mayor Fry well. She says it's Fateh who is best suited to bring the warring factions at City Hall together. Fateh points to his work on expanding access to opioid detection strips, free college for low-income students, and a deal to keep Uber and Lyft drivers in the Twin Cities as examples of how he can work with different sides. For Jacob Fry, not getting a Representative Omar endorsement is nothing new. He's won the mayor's race twice without it. With photojournalists Louis Carpel and Nick Luneman, Esme Murphy, WCCO News.
Which, again, he's definitely a contender. We look at the population that's been shifting in Minneapolis, especially in Minnesota. Omar is Representative Omar and Omar Fateh. I was gonna say same name. Is that her husband or brother? I'm only kidding. I'm only partially kidding. She would never. Oh wait a minute. There is some evidence. So those allegations of marrying her brother. But nevertheless, this went pretty viral. It got 3.5 million views and 5.9 thousand likes. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. His rallies are very viral, but hard to understand because he speaks Somali at them, with the exception of when he talks about the free stuff or the free keywords. But yeah, he's got the endorsements of, again, in Minnesota, she's very beloved. I mean, nationally, I don't think she'd ever win a national ticket. Again, that's not her role right now. I don't think any of her political standings would actually be appeal to the masses. But yeah, it's I mean, it'd be just they might just make Minneapolis just as good as ironic. Can't speak, but might make it. Well, that's supposed to be irony or sarcasm. Long day, folks. But might very well become just as popular as New York City when they also elect a socialist. Yeah, it's pretty concerning times. But let's see what the folks have to say. Again, it got 3.5 million views and 5.9 thousand likes. So the first comments comes to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman. Says, quote, Minneapolis has fallen, came 1,000 likes. Justin says, the window of opportunity to save Minnesota is slipping away, but there's still a hope to reverse course in 2026, which, I mean, they also just passed a law to give IDs to everyone and anyone and everyone. So cheating on the election will be a lot easier. So I'm pretty pessimistic. I also have Amelia Henderson saying, quote, time to deport them. And she has a AI-generated meme, or meme. It says, quote, is it too soon, or can we start talking about deporting Obama's Somalis, getting 293 likes? Salty Texan says, inbred's going to inbreed, getting 27 likes. Mr. says, how the heck did Minnesota go from, he has we used to be the whole story of the state with all the lake, all the blue cow and everything, the good old lumberjack. Then you have Omar, juxtaposition with him getting 2.7 thousand likes, which, well, again, for many years, they've imported a large portion of folks from Somalia to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I mean, there's so many of them. They redid the state flag, which, I mean, it used to be a beautiful thing, or as Trump would say, used to be a big, beautiful flag, so much history, so much rich culture in that flag. Then they reduced it to rudimentary, crayon-looking drawing, slightly worse than the flag Somalia. It's got a lot of the same design, a lot of the same colors, a lot of the same shapes. I mean, Trump probably didn't say that precisely, but maybe saying that effect. You also have Open Woodworks, and it's a picture of Representative Ilhan Omar. It says, in my country, I'm forced to keep my mouth shut, but here I'm free to talk trash about this country in hopes that I can change it to a country where I'm forced to keep my mouth shut. Getting 947 likes. G.A. Freeman says, the Democrat Party is morphing into an Islamist socialist party precisely as the Muslim Brotherhood planned, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Stray Dog has a cartoon-looking picture, or a drawing of Omar Fateh, getting 1.1 thousand likes, which, again, I don't have much ground to stand on when it comes to making fun of how people look. I know. Going down more and more, you have Stray Dog, and it's a cartoon with Representative Ilhan Omar. She's standing on the American flag, and she says, I pledge allegiance to, and the flag up there is Somalia, getting 477 likes. And again, you've had many of these Somalians become American citizens and then get into political office, and when they ask them, what are your number one goals, they say they're fighting for the people in Somalia. They say that out loud, which, again, Republicans do this with other countries as well. I think that's kind of treasonous of both parties. One would think maybe someday they actually care about American taxpayers. Perhaps I'm foolishly naive to ever hope that. That also got 477 likes. Kathy Ann says, wasn't he in Captain Phillips? You have that famous movie, it's a famous scene where the pirate points at his eyes and goes, I'm the captain now. Getting 398 likes. You have a picture from Reduc 213. It's a picture of Omar. It says, deport the brother effer. Getting 133 likes. Terry says, Crusaders are right. And it's a picture of a log cabin. It says, the day is coming soon where good men are going to have to do bad things to very bad people. Getting 224 likes. The Gray Dog has a picture and it says, U.S. border, you're entering a Sharia-free zone. Please set your watches forward for 1,400 years. Getting 173 likes. You have a couple more pictures of him being made into memes. I also have Fern, who says, quote, the three phases of Muslim migration. Phase 1, few in number, oppressed Islam, play the victim, claim Islamophobia, more tolerant to others. Phase 2, large large minority, indigenous Islam, threatening, demand Sharia law, intolerant of infidels. Phase 3, clear majority, dominant Islam, militant, strict Sharia law, kill/subdue all infidels. For 1400 years, this pattern has not changed. Moderates are irrelevant, getting 81 likes. Johnny Massacre says there's no greater advertisement to stop foreigners participating in elections than this absurd clown show. This is a picture of Ilhan Omar and Omar Fateh getting 40 likes. And again, part of becoming an American is, the American opportunity. You come here, you pay your taxes, file law, become a citizen. You can run for political office. Not president, but again, local offices and, state offices. And it used to be, assimilation was a big part of cultural, shifting when you moved to the United States. My family came here from Cuba with nothing, and you'll never see a Cuban flag flown by any of us. It's a crappy country. A dictator destroyed it. We came here, they learned English. Well, you might joke that they didn't learn English well enough to teach me to speak articulately. Fair point, but again, they learned it well enough. But since it's where they learned English, they adopted the cultures and values the founding fathers espoused, and they fly the American flag. We're seeing less and less than that in the United States. It's very common for people to come here and just keep flying their home country flag, which I think shows your allegiance, and also, billions of dollars of leading the country because of remittance when they make money here and then they send it back home. And I think it's becoming more and more a political and cultural issue where if the only thing that binds us together, and you're even seeing this fraction of culture and politics with Republicans and Democrats, if the only thing that unites us is just the U.S. dollar, we really don't have a country. If we're not all believing the foundation of the founding fathers, that is detrimental. That's, one of the reasons I'm so concerned about the United States. And I hope there's a shift into some unity, but I'm pretty pessimistic. But let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have a waste portable fan being recalled because it might ironically burst into flames and burn you. Now, this brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, perhaps the only useful government website, granted pretty low bar. And they say, quote, Living Globe portable waste fans recalled due to fire hazard. Manufactured by, again, I don't purposely try to mispronounce names necessarily, but it's going to happen inevitably here. They're manufactured by Guangzhou Jingjiang Lighting. I can't even pronounce. That was just a lack of dyslexia or not being able to read for a second there. Lighting. Followed by HSN. And here you can see the little portable fans there, the little belt buckle. And all the colors, which, I guess they all turn black when they burn to a crisp from burning you. Ideally, while you're not wearing it. Now, they say, quote, the refund is going to affect 48,000 units. Jeez Louise. Now, they say, quote, the recall includes Living Glow 5-in-1 portable waste fan, model number CPWFLED01. The model number is found on the label on the underback of the fan. The recalled waste fan features 5 fan speeds, a 3-mode flashlight, and can be used as a power bank. This thing was an all-in-one fire machine. You say the recalled fans were sold in gray, white, aqua, coral, red, and sage. They feature a metal clip attached to the belt with a strap for wearing around the neck. The fan measures about 3.6 inches wide and 4 inches tall. They caution you to not throw these away because, again, lithium ion, very volatile, and to dispose it in a way that is proper with all state and local laws. They say that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled waste fan and register them at wastefanrecall.info to receive a full refund. After registering for the recall, consumers should disable the portable fan per the firm's instructions and dispose of it in accordance with local and state regulations. And again, do not discard them in household trash. Now, unfortunately, they didn't get ahead of the recall, but thankfully no one's passed away. They say the firm has received 4 reports of the portable fan melting or catching fire, but no injuries or property damage has yet been reported. They're sold at hsn.com or Home Shopping Network Television from May 2025 to July 2025 for between $20 and $25. And again, manufactured by Guangzhou Jingjiang Lighting Company. Recall number 26-008. And again, they're sold $25, I guess. You make it to a very aggressive price point. Yeah, I guess you shouldn't expect it's going to explode, but I'm not too surprised. Again, the lithium ion alone is worth a fair amount. But yeah, a little ironic. A fan that's supposed to cool you down will actually, heat you up again. Thankfully, no one's been hurt. But yeah, when you're doing any engineering or manufacturing when it comes to lithium ion, always have to be especially cautious because it's so volatile. So I gotta say, a Living Globe portable fan, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you can click that button. Greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. Let me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.